All right, folks, thank you for tuning into another episode of Bucks America Podcast, the cooking edition. Now, I'm your host, Jeff Vance. The guest I have tonight was just aired on Wednesday for that episode. I got Austin Stone from Tactical Approach Outdoors, and he's got a recipe that he's going to talk about. And the cool thing is he actually has it cooking as we speak right now. So I'm going to I have no idea what he has prepared, but I'm going to turn the mic over to him and let him talk.
All right, so what I've got going on right now, I actually took a little bit of backstrap and did this with. I threw it in the crock pot. It's a crock pot recipe. I threw some Dr. Pepper, Blues Hog barbecue sauce, celery, and carrots. And that's I just threw it all in there together. And actually onion. I'll tell you the best. I got some onion in there too. Very, very simple, straightforward recipe. I've had it cooking on low for 8 hours.
Oh boy.
And that thing falls apart. I did this, I did it last week, and I was very close. I had some stuff I wanted to tweak, and really wanted to tweak is I want to take some of the Dr. Pepper away, add barbecue sauce, and add the other vegetables, the carrots, the celery, and the onion, and to add a little bit to mellow out the Dr. Pepper flavor a little bit. It's a little heavy with that. So I changed that this time, and I took a bite out of it actually before we started our podcast earlier, and it fixed it. It tastes really good. So I'm really pumped to actually get a bowl of that here.
So how did you stumble across Dr. Pepper as an ingredient for backstrap in a crock pot?
So, I just got to talking to folks, and this is something my girlfriend came up with. She watches a lot of recipes on TikTok and whatnot. And the Dr. Pepper actually helped tenderize the meat, and not only help tenderize it, but add a little bit of a flavoring to it as well. So I was like, I'll give it a shot. If it turns out terrible, then I know not to do that again. So I tried it last week, and it was really good. So I wanted to make a couple of tweaks to it and refine it. And for what the bite I took a little bit earlier, it looks like it mellowed out, and it turned out really good.
Very cool. So this is something you just started doing this last 2 weeks. Yeah.
Literally the last week or so. So it's something new, and I wanted to give it a shot. And I was like, at least try it, on a smaller piece of meat and see how it turned out. And it actually turned out really good. So I was like, let's try it again, see if we can refine it just a little bit. And it looks like may have been able to do that.
That's pretty cool. The nice thing is, folks, that I will Austin will email me the ingredients list, and I'll have that listed out. So this way you know what he modified and what he did with everything. So this way you can make it yourself. Because I have some backstrap. I'm curious now because everybody knows I'm a foodie, because it's like I'm always putting something together on my Instagram feed.
Yeah.
Now, what's the name of the barbecue sauce again?
Blues Hog.
Okay. Now, why did you choose Blues Hog?
So I like Blues Hog anyways, and it's also what I had in the fridge. So like I'll make hamburgers sometimes. I'll actually mash the Blues Hog in with the burger, and then cook it. So I actually mix it all together by hand, and then I'll form my patties and then cook it. And I've always liked doing that. We've done that as a family for a long time. So let's see how it would taste actually with this recipe. I was more curious than anything, because I personally like the Blues Hog sauce. So I was like, let's just give it a shot and see how it tastes. And I've used the sauce multiple times, just with steaks. And I knew that the venison and the sauce flavoring kind of meshed really well.
Okay.
And I personally liked it, so I was like, let's at least try it with it and go from there.
That's awesome, man. Now, is the barbecue sauce local to Kansas then, or Kansas City?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I got it from Price Chopper, but I think it's a pretty national.
Hey everyone, Jake with HHA. Super excited to introduce the Tetra and Tetra Max Rise. The Tetra Max And the Tetra Rise is our new 2-pin vertical bow sight that we're coming out with here for this year. So you'll notice a couple things on it. It's very similar to our single pin platform that we've had here over the last 25 years, and really similar to the other sights in the Tetra line. So what we basically did was we took our single pin technology and we merged that with some multi-pin technology. So the way we built our Tetra and Tetra Max Rise sights was we basically dropped a second pin in that vertical pin coming up from the bottom, and then we added a second indicator on the yardage wheel. So both of those are fixed. One really nice thing with this setup is you sight in at 20 and 60 with the top pin, and you don't have to worry about the second pin at all. That second pin and second indicator will automatically be on. So really nice feature there. The Tetra Rise and Tetra Max Rise are gonna come in 8 different frame options. So 4 in the Tetra Max Rise, 4 in the Tetra Rise. Both are gonna come in the fixed Hunter Edition frames. So the Tetra Hunter Edition frame, the Tetra Max Hunter Edition frame, as well as the white Picatinny mounts in both the Tetra Max and the Tetra Rise, as well as the long dovetail and then the short dovetail bar option that I have on the Matthews bridge lock system. So all the dovetail options within the Tetra and Tetra Max Rise are going to be compatible with Matthews bridge lock system. So within both of these product lines, you're going to get a lot of different options as far as which sight you want to go with. So you're going to get your choice of a yellow or red second pin. Red is going to be the standard second pin color, but you can choose to go with the yellow option as well. And then both will be available in either a 10 or a 19 thousandths pin. All scope housing sizes are 1 inch and 5/8, and we do have the same front end that we've had on the Tetra line since 2020 with the macro gain adjustments as well as your micro adjustments as well for windage. New on the Tetra Rise this year, you're going to notice that there is a new needle carrier. So this needle carrier obviously has the 2 indicators, but you will see that it is a red anodized needle carrier to really call out where your needles are at. On the Tetra and Tetra Max Rise, we'll be able to achieve longer distances. So we have built the longest tape sets that we've ever offered in our company's history. So guys are going to be able to get out to 120, 130, 140, 150, and in some situations even farther depending on your arrow setup. It's just making sure that we're getting arrow clearance, but really nice feature to be able to just step out in the backyard or head out to the 3D course to shoot out to some of those longer distances. On the hunting side of things, this is one of the nicest hunting sights that we have ever built. It does have reasonable pin gap spacing with a 1/4 inch spacing. That way, you know, if that deer runs out from 20 to 35, your second pin's on. So the most commonly asked question that I've had so far as we went through this whole setup process is, where does that second pin sit? Well, that second pin is going to vary depending on the different arrow setups that you do shoot. Closest answer I could give you is the most common is going to be somewhere between 32 and 40 yards, depending on how fast your bow is. So you'll likely be somewhere between that 32 to 40 yards with that second pin if the first one's at 20. So along with all other HHA products, the Tetra Rise and the Tetra Max Rise carry a 100% lifetime warranty. All products are 100% made in the USA. For more information, you can visit our website at hhsports.com.
Barbecue sauce, but I'm not 100% for sure.
I'm not sure either. I'll have to look it up because my go-to is like being from Iowa, cookies is my favorite because it's like it goes on everything. And then next week or after this podcast, I'll sit down with Joe Rose, and he works with Gravik Ranch. And the way they help continue to fund the 501c3 is that they came out with the barbecue sauce. Now, what they do differently is they do not add high fructose corn syrup. They don't add that toxin in there. They leave it out. It's a little bit more watery. Oh, it's just packed full of flavor. And I cooked up some ribs with it with some candied bacon from Spiceology. Fall off your bone, just deliciousness. And I used St. Louis ribs. Oh man, that's my, out of all the ribs I've eaten, that's by far my favorite cut of ribs, just because of where it sets on the pig itself, but all the meat that comes with it, it's just so juicy and flavorful. It's like, oh, it's just absolutely amazing.
Man, that sounds really good, dude.
Oh yeah, I smoked for 6 hours, and I used it's called Grandma's Revenge. It's a veteran-owned barbecue mustard company. I'm not sure if they're where they're based out of, because I found them in Wisconsin at the Open Season Classic there, and it's like I use it as my binder. Then I just lather that stuff up with the candied bacon. Then I apply the barbecue sauce and the brown sugar and the butter at the halfway point. Wrap it up, stick it in there, and it's just like just delicious. I had no leftovers.
That sounds really good. I was going to say, it better not be leftovers.
No, I rarely have leftovers. And usually when I prepare a big meal like that, when I do ribs, it's usually I'm serving no less than 10 people, just because It's like pork right now is not that expensive. So buying a couple of racks is like right around that $25 to $30 mark right there. But the butcher we get it from is pretty good quality. We get them actually enough from Aldi's, and I have not been disappointed with their material, or get them from Sam's Club, because they have butchers there on site, so they butchered up pretty well.
That's awesome. That's great. Yeah, find that nice quality meat makes a world of difference.
Oh yeah, exactly, sir. And then just give me that address, and then I'll be posting everything again. And if those who didn't watch listen to the episode back on Wednesday, I will have Austin repeat the information, how the best way to get a hold of him if you want to learn about how he takes his tactical approach to your property.
So you can reach me at Tactical Approach Outdoors on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok primarily. I do have a Facebook, but mostly what I use is Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. You can also email me at tacticalapproachoutdoors@gmail.com. And, if you have any questions along the lines, what we talked about in our last podcast, we had a lot of self-filming and public land hunting. Any question along those lines, or a question about my personal service and how I can help your hunting journey along the way, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Austin, for coming on the podcast. Make sure you send me some video of you opening up that lid. And I wish there's smell-o-vision, because it's like, it sounds so delicious right now.
I can hear it in the kitchen right now. I'm chomping at the bit, man.
Excellent, sir. Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for your time. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Jeff.
You're very welcome.